I realized something in the last 5 minutes. Which I went to Yale, and it was a horrible freshman year. It was terrible. I passed all my classes and I played sports very well, but it was humiliating because I didn't have any money. That was my belief. But nobody made me feel humiliated. Uh, but when I got home for the summer, I said, "Oh no, I'm not going back there, broke." So, so I got two jobs, and I worked my two jobs, one in the daytime and one at night. And so in July, which was early in the summer, I fell asleep on the way home and ran into a tree on a little country road in New Hampshire, and spent the next 9 months in the hospital. So I didn't have to. And now 5 minutes ago, I said, "Oh yeah, I did that, so I wouldn't have to go back to Yale." I mean, it sounds silly, but it's like, poof. And my life, I, I have to say, I spent the early part of my life pretending to be somebody else, which I learned from my mother, who didn't, well, I blamed it on my mother. And then I was really good at being somebody else. I mean, I was like a heroic figure in the world I lived in. I was a sports hero and an academic wizard, and I'm making this up a little bit. But then when I got to where I am now, which is I didn't know what to do, and I blundered into this job where all I do is I greet people and love them when they get there, and I don't care who they are, and it isn't something I have to make up. It's just something it's my greatest pleasure in life, and I have a great, I have a great life being kind of goofy and can't remember some things, but I'm really a nice person to be around. I'm proud of myself. Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Barry.
think that was
Thank
too
you,
nice.
Barry. Thank you, Barry.
I seem to have become a regular speaking circle person after I took a little break. I'm 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 really glad to be here. I have a job that I retired and then I came back, and I realized that my job and speaking circles are so aligned with each other that I had no intention of coming back to work, but now it seems as though um, I came back so that I could be more generous in uh, sharing my group experience with the groups that I work with. So thank you.
6 minutes with Barry, starting with breaths. Calling your first name to the camera, starting now.
Cecil, my first speaking circle was in 1998. I thought I was in a stage fright workshop, which it was actually. It was a weekend event, and I lived in Boston then. And by noon on the first day, Tan, I still don't know what happened, but stage stage fright left me forever, and yeah, it was a big deal up until then. And Michelle, when I moved to California that year, actually later that year, and I didn't really have a plan, but I stopped in Marin and did Lee's speaking circle facilitator training, and I arrived in Santa Monica this seems so long ago and such, well, not exactly. Lee, I feel like I'm talking about a different person, and I'm maybe suffering from Elliot. It could be what used to be called multiple personality disorder, and I forget what it is now. It's some kind of dissociative thing. But so I showed up in Santa Monica. I was a certified Cecil. I was a certified speaking circle facilitator. Of course, nobody. Well, I don't know how many people knew what that was, and I barely knew what it was. But for some reason or other, I posted on telephone poles and laundromats, and Michelle, people came to my apartment. Well, I shared an apartment, and my housemate generously said, why don't you do meetings here? So on Thursday evenings for several months, 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 people came to my apartment, our apartment. And it was fun, and I felt really good about myself, but I had no real, well, I don't know. I forget. I forget what went on, except I needed to get a job. Summertime came, Lee, and this may not be true, but my story is that people had different things to do in the summer. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell it was summer, Elliot, because I'm from New England, and Southern California. I couldn't tell it was summer, but turned out. So I met somebody whose mother-in-law facilitated counseling groups, TAN, for court-referred family violence clients, people who got in trouble for domestic violence, and I really needed a job, and I really thought, Cecil, I thought, I'm going to hate this. So my first group, working with men, I worked with men for years. I had to sit with an experienced person, Michelle, before I could be by myself in group. And I don't know. I think it was like the stage fright workshop. Halfway through the first group, I just had this feeling I found a home here, and I can remember that, Elliot, very clearly. And I forgot, not that long afterwards, I forgot how powerful my speaking circle experience had been when it came to my new job, which I really, I didn't have credentials. I kind of BS'd my way into that job, and but it turns out I was good at it, or I had something that made it extremely enjoyable for me, and so 23 years later, I retired, and I love being retired. I moved up north to be near my daughter, and my daughter's in Oakland. Otherwise, I'd be in Massachusetts with my 3 sons. But my old boss called me and asked me to come back. I had no intention of it, and anyway, I am back. Thank you. I burned up my 6 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry.
Barry, seriously playful.
Seriously playful. Thank you. Michelle.
Open storytelling.
Open storytelling. Thank you. Cecil.
Sincere and very easy to be with.
Sincere and very easy to be with. Thank you. Tan.
Warm journey.
Warm journey. Thank you. Elliot.
Grounded and genuine.
Grounded and genuine. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry.
I am getting used to looking forward to being here. I pretended to look forward to it in years gone by, but I was pretending a lot of things. And you can't just spend your whole life pretending, and then all of a sudden, this is a tip from the tribal elder, and then all of a sudden say, I'm not going to do that anymore. Oh boy, thank you.
7 minutes with Barry, starting with breaths, calling your first name to the camera, starting now.
Lee, I talked a little bit about work last time I was here, and I was so pleased with myself. I should know by now that that feeling is Sarah, it's like a warning that something's going to happen, something untoward. And the thing I like about my job is I get to, they leave me alone. Once I get in that room with the people that are spending time with me, Tan, I'm supposed to do things. The probation department would like me to tell everybody what kind of dirt bags they are and what they need to do to straighten out, and that I have what they need. And I never really, George, I never warmed up to that. So I've spent the last 25 years with a few years off. Lee, I pretend I'm doing what probation wants me to do, but I never even come close. Not even a minute, not a minute out of the 2 hours is what they want me to do. And I'm not bragging, I'm just, it has a dark side. It's part of my sneakiness that I discovered recently. But so I got a new job. This old, I didn't want my job really. George, a guy that I knew from way back, he started his own agency, and his Monday night facilitator moved to LA. She can't work Monday nights anymore. And guess what? There aren't any people left that do what I do. This guy called every agency he called. Well, anyway, so he ended up asking me to work on Monday nights, and I went to see him, and I didn't have a great feeling about it, but I couldn't say no. Sarah, it was one of those, it was like a courtship thing, you know, where you're all excited and you say yes to anything. Well, anyway, so I went back to see him, Lee, yesterday. Oh God, it was just yesterday, to get more details about what we were doing. And he is so infatuated with his role, satisfying every last thing that probation wants him to do. And so every minute of what I'm supposed to be doing, and I get handed papers to hang out to the class, and they read what's on the subject for the day, and there's a subject for every day for all 52 weeks. It's very specific. And then after we get through reading it, the facilitator helps the participants talk about their relationship to what we read. This is 2 hours. And not a minute. Well, anyway, I was panicked. my stomach was upset. I got dizzy while I was sitting with him in this little office. And then I left. I'm driving home and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? And then something kicked in. George, well, for one thing, part of my job is helping people deal with unpleasant happenstances in their lives. And one of the tools is self-talk, how you change your self-talk. And I'm really good at that. And something that Lee, when I did mirror work, which was not that long ago, the first time, I had no idea who that person in the mirror was. I didn't like him, for one thing. And but it was more than that. It was like, Sarah, I didn't know him. I didn't even know what he looked like. And it was had a huge effect on me. So I'm driving home from this horrible interview, this worst thing that ever happened to me in the last, well, it's a first world thing, but and I just said to myself, addressing my conversation with myself, don't whine and moan about this. Just go in there and make it into a good thing instead of pretending it's a horrible thing. So, and that was, I got immediate relief. I was looking forward to, George, I was gonna suffer I start next week, a week from yesterday. My first, not only do I have to do that, what I'm supposed to do that lesson, but I have two groups, one right after the other, and guess what? They're both doing the same lesson. So the idea that I'm gonna do that, hope they're not recording me, but so self-talk. And it's huge learning, and I've only learned it lately, although I've talked about it a lot. Learning that no matter how you're looking to improve yourself, if your relationship with yourself, Sarah, sucks, it's like a marriage, and there's a lot of bad marriages, but this one you can't slam the door and go somewhere else. And I just feel as though this gathering that I'm in right now is sort of a signal or a sign that I've moved into a phase of my life that's very, how shall I say, mature, a fittingly mature stage. It's very undignified to be old and stupid. I'll let you check that out for yourself. It may not be true. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barry.
7 minutes.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry.
Barry, uncommon wisdom.
Uncommon wisdom. Thank you, Sarah.
Sparkling wisdom.
Oh, sparkling wisdom.
Determined and real.
Determined and real. Thank you. George.
Real wisdom.
Real wisdom. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Barry.
I miss my kids. And my youngest son and his wife just had a baby, and got a huge bunch of photographs from one of my other sons who visited. It was really nice. It got me thinking about. So I decided I wanted to get my daughter a Mother's Day present. I went on Amazon. Well, I got an LL Bean catalog, but I went on Amazon and I got this cashmere throw. I think it's a throw. It's very expensive. I was very pleased with myself, and but there was no gift thing to check when I was signing out. So after I bought it, I thought, oh my God, I don't want her to see how much this costs, because she'd be, well, it wouldn't be pleasing to her. And so I went online to customer service, and they said, do you want to talk to a robot? And I said, yes. What's your problem? And they give you a list of things, none of which your problem's on. And finally I said, well, I bought something, I'm afraid it's got the price tag on it. And so the robot says, well, if it's a gift, you're supposed to check the gift thing. And I said, you fucker, you blaming me for this. I said, I want you to fix it. And well, anyway, they turfed me over to a real person. She was really nice. And she said Amazon doesn't put a price on anything that they send out, which was a big relief. It solved my problem. I said, how come the tech conversation per robot doesn't know that? Anyway, it was fun. And yeah, I'm pleased with everything, especially our evening here. Tuesday's very special. I have this little circle in the morning, and then now this just seems to be a steady date. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you,
Mhm.
Barry.